Hello, today we are talking about cells, and there's two types of cellular organisms, unicellular organisms that just have one cell, and multicellular organisms that contain many, many, many cells. Okay, every organism. Now, an organism is something that is living. So every organism has life functions. Like all living things use energy, which means they eat something, and they have waste. Okay, you take things in, you have to let things come out. So all living things have a definite form and a limited size. So you know that this living organism looks like a plant, it's a plant. This living organism looks like an animal, it's an animal. It's not going to grow to the size of the earth, it's going to grow to a limited size that is predictable. Living things grow from small to large. Living things like from babies to adults. Living things also respond to changes in the environment. So if there's not enough food here, then the animal would move on to somewhere else to find food. Living things can reproduce, which means they can make the next offspring, the next generation. Living things eventually die. Now, what is an organism? An organism is anything that can live on its own, like this worm or this bacteria or this mushroom or the tree. Things that live on, or the person holding the worm. All these things are different organisms that can live on their own. Every living thing is made of cells. Every living thing has cells. Okay, and cells are the building blocks of all life forms. Organisms can be multicellular. Anything that you see that is alive, like grass or a bush or a tree or a hummingbird or your next door neighbor, they are all multicellular organisms. They have many million, many billions of cells. Or some organisms are only one cell large, and you can only see them in the microscope. So all cells have similar structure. So the outside of the cell, the skin of the cell, is called the cell membrane. It's the outside of the cell. It's found in plant cells and animal cells. Every cell has a nucleus, and the nucleus acts as the brain or the control center of the cell. So here you see an animal cell that has a cell membrane and it has a nucleus. There are other parts too, but in fifth grade we focused just on those two main parts. Plant cells are similar to animal cells, but plant cells have one more thing. They have a cell wall. The cell wall gives the plant a structure and shape. So the very outside is a rigid plant wall, and they act like little blocks that stack on each other to make a shape. Like trees don't have bones to give them shape. Trees have plant cell walls to stack on each other to make the shape of the plant. Now we're going to look through the microscope in some videos that I have loaded in this module. So a unicellular organism is only one cell large. You cannot see a unicellular organism. There's only one cell large. So you have to use a microscope to magnify the image or magnify the object so you can see it. So if you can see it just with your regular eye, we call that looking with our naked eye because there's no microscope, or we say looking through a microscope. Here are some very interesting unicellular organisms. Here are some other interesting looking unicellular organisms. And here are the names of the unicellular organisms. Amoeba, bacteria, and algae are the main ones that you need to know.